On November 5, 2025, the Virtual Telescope project shocked astronomers worldwide by releasing two new images of the interstellar object 3I/ATLAS. What they revealed only intensified the enigma. Rather than the bright trailing figure of a typical comet scattering dust and gas, Atlas appeared as a small, steady point of light, calm, silent, and almost identical to how the Hubble Telescope had seen it months earlier in July. The scientific community was left in collective disbelief. Think about that for a second. By now, Atlas should have lost roughly 13% of its mass. That's more than 5.5 billion tons of material. If that were true, it should be glowing fiercely, surrounded by a halo of vapor and debris. But instead, nothing. Just a still, stubborn point of light. To make the contrast even sharper, Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb pointed out that when we look at an ordinary comet, like Comet Lemon, we see exactly what physics predicts. A brilliant, transparent tail fanning out behind it, pushed away by sunlight like a cosmic windsock. But Atlas isn't playing by those rules. It's spotless, eerily clean, showing none of the visible traces that should come with such a violent loss of matter. Loeb believes this is just one more sign that ATLAS isn't a typical natural object at all. And that raises a question that makes even seasoned scientists uneasy. What if this thing isn't natural? No wonder social media has been flooded with wild theories, half-truths, and confusion about its strange acceleration. So, in this video, we're cutting through the noise. We're going straight to the real data, the numbers, the physics, to see if ATLAS might actually be something extraordinary watching us from the edge of our own solar system. Because on October 29th, just as Atlas swung past its closest point to the sun, something weird happened. The object suddenly sped up in a way that no known law of gravity can explain. According to a report from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, the object's true position was off by 4 arcseconds from its predicted orbit. That might sound tiny, but at a distance of 203 million kilometers, that's a massive deviation. Scientists were floored. Data showed Atlas accelerating at about 0.2 millimeters per second squared, which might seem minuscule, until you realize it means being shoved off its path by over 80,000 kilometers in just 1 month. And it's not just being pushed in one direction. The data revealed a dual acceleration, an outward drift away from the sun of around 135 kilometers per day, and a sideways slide of about 60 kilometers per day. Imagine watching a spinning top glide across a table, pulled by 2 invisible strings at once. That's ATLAS right now. Naturally, people panicked. Was it heading toward Earth? NASA quickly reassured everyone, no, the object's trajectory poses no threat to our planet. Still, it's expected to pass close to Jupiter in March 2026, and astronomers will be watching that encounter very closely. But the big question remains, what's actually pushing it? Picture tossing a ball into the air. Gravity dictates exactly where it will fall. But now imagine that same ball suddenly veering off course mid-flight, as if tiny invisible thrusters were nudging it. That's what ATLAS is doing. It's no longer following gravity alone. Something else is interfering. The simplest explanation? Outgassing. When ice on a comet's surface warms and turns to vapor, it escapes into space, pushing the object in the opposite direction, like a miniature jet engine. But here's the catch. The amount of gas Atlas would need to release to cause this acceleration is astronomically high, far more than any known comet could possibly produce. So now, the question has shifted from what's happening to what could possibly cause it. Could ATLAS be driven by an unknown natural mechanism, or could there be something artificial at play? It's a question that's sparking heated debates in labs, observatories, and late-night astronomy chats across the globe. And as Avi Loeb points out, physics doesn't lie. If we know an object's mass and acceleration, we can calculate exactly how much force, or thrust, is needed to move it. And according to his math, Whatever's propelling Atlas is not normal. Something out there is bending the rules, and ATLAS may just be our first glimpse of it. A TLAS isn't just another visitor from the stars, it's a cosmic heavyweight. Weighing in at over 33 billion tons, it dwarfs the first two interstellar objects ever discovered, Oumuamua and Borisov, by a staggering margin, between 1,000 and 1,000,000 times heavier. Its core alone spans an estimated 3.5 million acres, or nearly 6 kilometers across. With that much mass, you'd expect its motion to be predictable. But when scientists plugged its mass and acceleration into the equations, the results were nothing short of astonishing. If Atlas were accelerating because of natural outgassing, it would have to release at least 1/6 of its entire mass during the month it passed closest to the Sun, roughly 5.5 billion tons of gas. That's not a subtle effect. That's an explosion of matter that should light up the sky. Such a release would form an enormous radiant cloud around the object, something so bright that even amateur astronomers could spot it. And that's why, from late November 2025 to late January 2026, dozens of telescopes around the world, including Hubble and the James Webb Space Telescope, will have their eyes fixed on Atlas. The data revealed a dual acceleration, an outward drift away from the Sun of around 135 kilometers per day, and a sideways slide of about 60 kilometers per day. Imagine watching a spinning top glide across a table pulled by two invisible strings at once. That's Atlas right now. Then comes December 19th, the big moment, when Atlas will make its closest approach to Earth, gliding by at a distance of 167 million miles. If that massive gas cloud exists, we'll see it then. If we don't, well, the debate will erupt like never before, because without any visible outgassing to explain its thrust, scientists will have to face a chilling possibility that something else, maybe something technological, is driving this object, and we've been here before. Oumuamua, the very first interstellar visitor detected in 2017, also behaves strangely, accelerating as if propelled by some invisible force, yet showing no outgassing whatsoever. Even NASA's ultra-sensitive Spitzer Space Telescope couldn't detect a single molecule escaping from it. Researchers were forced to label it a dark comet, which is almost a contradiction in terms. A comet that doesn't outgas? That's like calling a volcano silent. Yet Atlas seems determined to one-up that mystery. As if the acceleration weren't enough, Atlas brought two more bizarre surprises. First, its brightness. As it approached the Sun, instead of brightening moderately like other comets, typically between magnitude -2 and -3, Atlas skyrocketed to magnitude -7. That's twice as bright as physics would predict. Then came the color, and this one left astronomers speechless. Atlas was blue. Not reddish like dust-covered comets, but bluer than the Sun itself. Now that's peculiar. Cooler surfaces, like those of distant icy objects, usually glow red, never blue. For Atlas to shine with that color defies everything we know about light scattering, temperature, and surface composition. The only faintly plausible natural explanation might be the direct emission of ionized gases, such as carbon dioxide or nitrogen. But even that stretches the boundaries of current models. And that's really the heart of it. No one's saying Atlas is definitely an artificial object. This isn't about aliens or fantasy. This is about science and what happens when nature refuses to fit inside our theories. As Dr. Avi Loeb argues, real science doesn't reject uncomfortable data. You don't get to say the numbers must be wrong just because you can't explain them. You follow the data wherever it leads, even if it challenges everything you thought you knew. So if the expected gas cloud never appears, the question becomes unavoidable. What's actually pushing Atlas? And that's where the mystery deepens, because ATLAS isn't just weird, it's unprecedented. It has quickly become one of the most perplexing celestial bodies ever recorded, defying the very foundations of classical physics. Its anomalies don't stop with brightness or color either. The first major red flag is what scientists are calling the impossible path. Atlas moves along an orbit tilted by just 5 degrees relative to the ecliptic plane, the same flat disk-like region where all planets revolve around the Sun. That's incredibly strange. An object coming from another star system could, in theory, approach from any direction, above, below, or at any angle. Yet Atlas's path is almost perfectly aligned with our planetary plane. The odds of that happening purely by chance, practically zero. It's like shooting an arrow blindfolded from another continent and hitting the bullseye of a dartboard back on Earth. And if that doesn't make you wonder what or who sent Atlas our way, nothing will. But that was just the beginning. The second anomaly blew everyone's minds. In July and August 2025, telescopes caught Atlas doing something no comet in the history of astronomy has ever done. It fired a jet of material directly toward the Sun. That's the exact opposite of what physics predicts. Comet tails always stream away from the Sun, driven by solar radiation pressure. Yet ATLAS, it pointed its jet inward almost defiantly, like someone running into the wind with their hair flying forward. Scientists were stunned. It was as if Atlas had decided to rewrite the laws of motion itself. And then there's its size and speed. The third anomaly. Atlas is colossal, 1,000,000 times more massive than Oumuamua and 1,000 times heavier than Borisov, yet it's moving faster. In astrophysics, that makes no sense. Bigger objects should move more slowly when bound by gravity. That's basic celestial mechanics. But Atlas doesn't care. It's racing through space like it has its own engine. Some plasma physicists have even dared to suggest it might, that its strange backspin could hint at an artificial magnetic field or a plasma-based propulsion system, something akin to humanity's experimental ion drives, only on a scale we can barely imagine. Then comes the fourth anomaly: perfect timing. Atlas's movements through the solar system seem almost calculated. Despite its unpredictable path, it somehow managed to pass near Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, yet avoided Earth during its closest approach to the Sun, the very moment it should have been brightest and easiest to spot. That kind of precision feels less like luck and more like choreography. Statistically, it's rarer than winning the lottery 10 times in a row. To some scientists, this uncanny timing feels deliberate, as though Atlas were a probe programmed to skirt observation while quietly studying the solar system's giants. Which brings us to the fifth anomaly, its factory signature. The way Atlas navigates makes it seem almost self-aware, as if it's following a pre-calculated flight path designed to collect data while avoiding interference. Some astronomers even speculate it could be mapping the gravitational and electromagnetic fields of our solar system, behavior eerily similar to reconnaissance probes we send to explore distant worlds. But then spectroscopic analysis revealed something even stranger. Atlas contains more nickel than iron, a ratio that mirrors human-made alloys, not natural cosmic ones. Most comets are a chaotic blend of metals and minerals, yet Atlas seems engineered, with a composition that resembles materials forged in high-temperature industrial processes. And that leads us to the sixth anomaly: dryness. Ordinary comets are nicknamed dirty snowballs because up to 90% of their mass is water ice. Atlas, however, contains barely 4% water, making it drier than the Sahara Desert. This discovery has forced scientists to ask the uncomfortable question: can it even be called a comet at all? Some researchers think ATLAS could be the wreckage of an ancient technological structure, maybe the shell of a long-lost spacecraft drifting between stars. Its metallic composition, similar to Inconel, a heat-resistant alloy used in jet engines and spacecraft, has only deepened those suspicions. The seventh anomaly is no less mysterious: polarized light. When astronomers studied ATLAS through infrared spectroscopy, they found no trace of water vapor, even as it neared the Sun. Some suggest that its surface might be covered in a ceramic or composite layer, something that prevents evaporation, like a heat shield. If true, this would be the first evidence of an artificial shell on any interstellar object. Even more astonishing, the light polarization pattern Atlas emits doesn't match any known comet, not even Borisov. Instead, its signature looks like light reflecting off smooth metallic panels, not the rough, dusty surfaces of natural bodies. And then came the discovery that tied this whole enigma to one of the most baffling moments in human history, the WOW signal of 1977. Both the signal and Atlas originated from nearly the same region of space. The odds of that being mere coincidence are astronomically small. Some scientists have noticed that ATLAS's polarized light behaves exactly like reflections from flat, structured surfaces, hinting at the possibility of reflective or solar panels, or even symmetrical geometric designs, traits associated with artificial engineering. If these theories hold up, if even half of ATLAS's anomalies are confirmed, then we're not looking at a comet at all. We might be staring at the first experimental evidence of alien technology. Think about that for a second. An autonomous probe launched by an ancient civilization gliding through the void for millions of years, quietly gathering data on emerging worlds. Maybe it's been observing us for far longer than we realize, studying, recording, waiting. Everything is now on the table, and the world's eyes are locked on one date, December 19th, 2025. That might be the day humanity finally learns the truth. Which leaves scientists with a chilling possibility that ATLAS isn't being propelled by natural forces at all. If no gas cloud appears, the old comet theory collapses. What remains could be evidence of something extraordinary, a propulsion system that defies the known laws of physics, something intentional, something that moves with purpose. As Atlas nears Earth on December 19th, hundreds of telescopes, from ground observatories to the Hubble and James Webb, will lock onto it. Whatever they find could redefine humanity's place in the cosmos. The countdown to discovery has already begun, and if Atlas isn't a comet but a creation, a piece of technology not of this Earth, then December 19th, 2025 might become a date humanity remembers forever. The moment we realize that while we've been looking up at the stars, something out there might have been looking back. The most haunting thought isn't what we've seen so far, it's what might be hiding from us. And then comes the boldest speculation of all, that on December 19th, when Atlas reaches its closest approach to Earth, it might emit a synchronization signal, not meant for us, but for someone else. Maybe it's a message, a status update, or a call home, confirming that Earth has been found, studied, and logged. Or perhaps it's part of an ancient civilization's long-term exploration cycle, repeating its mission every few millennia. Right now, we can only watch and wonder. Atlas remains eerily silent, accelerating through the darkness, its mysteries multiplying with each new observation. If the theories are true, then every night we gaze at it through telescopes, we might not be the observers anymore. We might be the observed. If you've been following this journey, stay tuned. I'll be covering every new image, every data update, and especially what happens after perihelion, when we'll finally see what's left of ATLAS after it brushes past the sun. Leave a comment below. I want to hear what you think. Will Atlas survive intact, or will we witness its final disintegration? Either way, one thing's certain, something extraordinary is happening out there, and we're all about to find out what.